Greetings from the First Lutheran Pastoral Vlog. We're coming to you today from our sanctuary, and I'm standing in front of one of our banners that has been used at First Lutheran during the season of Lent, and it's a curious banner. It was made by one of our members, Marit Pudis, years ago, and it depicts, sick people and a cross and a serpent. And what does this all mean, and what does it have to do with our gospel? Well, let's find out. Our gospel for this week comes from John, the 3rd chapter, and it contains probably one of the most famous verses in the Bible, John 3:16. But I want you to know the context of John 3:16. It's that a Pharisee named Nicodemus came to talk to Jesus. He came at night, of course, because he didn't want to be seen by others. He was afraid, and Jesus starts telling him about the gospel, and it's complete, nonsense to Nicodemus. He can't make any sense of it whatsoever, how the gospel works when he's been raised in the scheme of the law as a Pharisee. And then Jesus makes reference to this story from the Old Testament, from the book of Numbers, about how the people of Israel, as they were being led through the wilderness by Moses, got a little upset. They got angry with God and with Moses. They started speaking against them, and God sent poisonous snakes, and they were bitten, and many died. Yet God had mercy on them, and Moses was instructed to raise up a bronze serpent on a pole, and that if someone was bitten by a poisonous snake, all they had to do was look at the bronze serpent, and they would be saved. Well, interesting story. We don't hear about it a lot, but it comes during Lent. We have this beautiful banner. And when Jesus is meeting with the Pharisee Nicodemus in John 3, he references this. I'm going to read this verse for you. He says, "No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life." Now, we don't worry about poisonous snakes too much here in South Dakota, though I know they're around. We do have sin. And what Jesus tells Nicodemus now, he tells us too. That when we are bitten by our own sin, and we all are bitten in this way by this poisonous snake of our own sin, which does bring death, there is one who has been raised up on a pole, not a bronze serpent, but Christ himself, who has died before us and was raised from the dead, so that when we die, we may be raised as well. This is his gospel for Nicodemus, and now it is our gospel too, our good news that Christ is raised on a pole for us on the cross, and he is our salvation. Well, that's a sliver of the story from John 3. Come hear the rest of the story this weekend as we gather for worship on Saturday and Sunday. We'll see you in worship.